What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and by golly gee whiz, it's like a broken record. It's that time of year where we start tossing and turning in bed at night, having wet fever dreams about the next Call of Duty, telling our friends who quit titles ago that this is the one that's going to bring them back to the franchise. Truthfully, I think Modern Warfare 3 was a good step forward, but I think Black Ops 6 is going to be the one that takes us to the Holy Land. There's one adjustment in particular that they're going to make, which makes me want to track down every single exec of Treyarch and kiss them directly on the feet, and we'll get to that one. But there's so many other features that are going to be included in this game that have to be talked about, good and bad. I'll explain my thoughts on each, and if you disagree, then let me know below, and if you do agree, then also let me know. To start off, Treyarch is introducing a new type of movement they are calling Omni Movement. The word Omni is used to describe something that's comprised of all, or everything. You may recognize it from people saying things like, God is omnipotent, meaning he is all-knowing or all-capable. So when we hear Omni Movement, we are led to believe that this is a new form of movement which will contain a little bit of everything. Slide canceling, diving, sliding, and that's exactly what Treyarch is promising, but they're not saying that we can do it in just one direction, which traditionally in Call of Duty would only be forward. They're saying we can do it in every direction, meaning we can dive to the left or right behind cover, or dive backward into the water. I mean, there's plenty of cinematic opportunities if this is in fact the case. I think if executed well, that this could be a great addition to Call of Duty. The issue is, it has to be executed well.
I'm in danger!
I must admit that I am worried about all this additional movement making the game or making the movement feel clunky, or not just being overall as fluid as Treyarch would like it to be. I do also think that this movement could increase the skill gap of players because there's a lot more to have to focus on when it comes to your own movement, but at the same time a lot to focus on when it comes to your opponents as well. Now you're going to have to be aware of what they can do. They can't just bunny hop or drop shot, they can do a crazy amount of combinations. Players are going to be hitting Mortal Kombat like combos mid gunfight. While in theory this increase in movement should increase the skill gap, it really shouldn't worry players because, of course, no matter the studio, skill-based matchmaking is never going away. It's like a hemorrhoid or a unibrow. You can get rid of it for a while and use things to minimize it, but it's there for good. Like marriage, for better or for worse. Treyarch, in addition to the Omni Movement, are implementing something they're calling Intelligent Movement as well, which is going to assist players in being able to do these different movements without additional buttons. I can't really expand on what this will or should look like, but it's supposed to have several settings that will allow us to focus on playing the game and not focus on remembering a ton of inputs to achieve the movement that we want. If you have more insight on this feature, please break it down for us in the comments below, and I'll make sure to pin it so other people can see. Now, something I think is going to be a very overlooked addition to Black Ops 6 is a number of enemy hit zones. What the goal of Treyarch is to increase the hit zones from 4 to now 9, and that's going to expand the number of animations that characters will perform upon death. Now, that may not have explained it well, I know, but basically now when you shoot and kill an enemy in the right leg, we'll say, their body's movement should react as if the final shot was in their right leg. If you ended up finishing them on a headshot, their body should react as if you shot them in the head. Before, it was broken down into a wider range of zones, chest and arms being lumped together, a lower body and the legs, the head and the torso. Now it's going to be more detailed. I don't know how much impact this is going to have on gameplay itself, but it's definitely going to make for more engaging combat and more engaging gunfights. I'm not overly excited about it, but I do think it's a nice addition and I don't really see any flaw in implementing it. So we've talked a lot about movement already and the intent to basically overhaul it completely, giving the players as much flexibility as possible when it comes to how they want to approach gunfights. But there's something else that I think is really cool in terms of the overall gameplay, and it's something kind of simple. Treyarch is doing a complete overhaul of the HUD. As it stands, the amount we can customize within the gaming HUD is very limited. The most we can do is change the color of the minimap and adjust it from being either a circle or a square, and as far as customization goes, that's not very impressive. Within Black Ops 6, they want to make it so we can customize what's displayed. If you don't want to see your ammo count, you don't have to. Don't care about your stuns or lethals, take them off. And you can even adjust where your HUD is going to be located. If for some reason you don't want it in the bottom right and you want it centered or in the top right, move it. I think this is a good idea because it gives us even more customization over how we want to play. Maybe you don't have tacticals because of your loadout setup, and if that's the case, you don't want that icon taking up space on your screen. I don't think this is a revolutionary change, but it's one that will only benefit us. I've touched on a good amount of changes we can expect come late October, but the one that's yet to be mentioned is probably my favorite. For the younger generation, you may not be looking as forward to this as I am, but for the old heads like me, we're stoked. Treyarch is deciding to do away with the season level prestige cap and head back to the traditional way of prestiging. So basically you would level up to a certain number, typically about level 55, and then you would be able to reset to level 1, but in a different prestige, where you would get different prestige icons and calling cards, so people knew you weren't just some fresh level 24, but instead an experienced prestige 5 level 24. This is amazing news because it allows you to continue progressing. I've never been a fan of the season prestiges because once you hit that max level for the season, that's it. You're done. The traditional way to prestige give you a constant line of progression. It looks like they're even bringing back the aspect of prestiging where it relocks all your weapons and attachments, forcing you to earn them again. It makes the game more difficult, but that's kind of part of the fun. I think the player base has lost that aspect where everything now is just overall easier for them. We get double XP weekends all the time, never have to prestige to continue to earn level, and don't really have a skill gap because the matchmaking ensures everyone is on even of a playing field as possible. This feature is going to be a refreshing reimplementation into the series, and I don't even remember the last Call of Duty that had this type of prestiging. If you remember, go ahead and drop it below because I cannot think of it. There's a ton of other stuff to talk about when it comes to Black Ops 6, but if you've been around the channel for a while, you know I don't like to keep you for long. You've got better things to do than to listen to me blabber, but if this video is well received, I'll gladly make another about additional features that we can expect. As always, I appreciate your time, I appreciate your support, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. Deuces.